If not, then we'll get on to item number 7 on our agenda, is a report from the Woodbridge Economic Development Commission concerning their Woodbridge Business Development Concept Plan. And Jody Allant, who's chair of that commission, is here, along with Professor Alan Plattus of the Yale School of Design, and Herb Mendelson, who is a member of that commission. So, good evening.
Hi, thank you for listening to us this evening. We're thrilled to be here. Professor Plattus and the Yale Urban Design Group has spent quite a long time and many hours looking at our area, our business area, our commercial area, and coming up with ideas of how we can improve it and maximize our tax base in that area, which is being substantially underutilized at this point. There are a lot of vacant parcels there, and we have, with Yale's help, set out to address that. The plan that you will see tonight, that's now in its final form, has been thoroughly vetted throughout the community. We brought it first to the retail and commercial property owners, the retail establishment, to get their feedback on it. We then brought it to town planning and zoning to get their feedback on it. We then proceeded to the commercial property owners, and finally to the residents in the area, which is basically the area which will encompass the current village district and more. We have worked with the town on this issue even before the plan was finalized. The presentation you heard before regarding the sidewalks is an outgrowth, in part, of what Yale has recommended. We've not waited for the report to finalize. We've seized upon opportunities as they arose. Additionally, Yale has consulted with us on the Exit 59 study and has suggested to DOT's ways to deal with that area. Professor Plattus is here now to present the plan. We see a real opportunity, and we would like, there are many opportunities occurring at once, and we hope the Board of Selectmen will see to it to take advantage of the opportunities. We're about to redo the Plan of Conservation and Development. I attended the meeting a few weeks back with the consultant. The plan has not yet even, I believe, been started. I had a conversation with Professor Plattus today. We feel very strongly that this be the forefront of the cornerstone of what is incorporated, what is talked about for that area, so that when future developers or property owners want to do something for their property, it's incorporated into that area. That being said, I personally believe that working with Yale has been a pleasure, and that perhaps we should, as a town, should consider including them in that process, because, as you'll see, some of the recommendations do require some changes in our zoning laws to encourage better use of the area, to make it more likely that people want to go there to shop as well as to live there, and our current zoning laws don't allow that, and Yale certainly has the expertise to bring in. And finally, the one thing I'd like to highlight is that we have, just by bringing the plan around to the different constituents in the area, we have already received communication from property owners that are interested in selling their property, and would allow. I got a phone call, actually, Mr. Coyne will call me, I'm sure, after this meeting, who owns property on Lucy Street, who is very interested in selling the property, his property, and it's an opportunity for the town to perhaps get involved, specifying what that will look like, and to provide a cornerstone for future development in that area.
Alan? Yes, thank you. My name is Alan Plattus. I am a professor of architecture and urbanism at the Yale School of Architecture, and I'm also the director of the Yale Urban Design Workshop, which is a community design center affiliated with the School of Architecture that has for the last 20 plus years undertaken consulting work the state of Connecticut and in some cases further afield, working with neighborhoods, with communities, in some cases with private developers, on planning and urban design issues. We have a lot of experience with towns of almost every imaginable size, and Woodbridge is not typical of any other place, but it certainly has been a good experience and a constructive experience for us to engage in this work over the past several years. Now, I see that most of you have printed copies of the report.
We all do.
In front. Everybody does. So we had it up a minute ago. The computer went to sleep. I don't want Tony or anyone else to spend the rest of the evening fussing with the computer, so I have a copy in front of me. If we need to refer to specific parts of that, we'll do so. It was not my intention in any case, given the time constraints, to march you through the report page by page. I think many of you are familiar with it in other contexts, and I know that you've had the opportunity to look at it. I'm going to give a little bit of a summary and then encourage people to ask any questions that they might have to clarify aspects of this, or to suggest things that we may have overlooked for one reason or another. As I said, for the past several years, we've had the privilege of working with the Economic Development Commission as our primary client for this work. And in that context, as Jody mentioned, we've had multiple meetings with property owners, with business owners, with neighborhood residents, and also with your Planning and Zoning Commission, who, as the report says, are absolutely key to the successful implementation of the recommendations going forward. It is their job to specifically deal with your land use regulatory environment, both from the point of view of developing detailed recommendations or changes, but also from the point of view of reviewing individual projects on a project-by-project basis. What we have done over this time is to develop a fairly detailed analysis of the challenges that face this area of Woodbridge. I don't think any of them will come as big surprises to those of you who lived and done business here. They include, but are not limited to, fairly weak identity and image, or to put it another way, the lack of a strong positive identity and image for this important area of Woodbridge. They certainly include traffic issues that are, for the most part, tied with pretty serious conflict between local and regional traffic, which we describe in some detail. It comes down to a fairly specific and quite difficult and challenging conjunction of a incomplete network of local streets that are totally dependent on the two major regional arteries that cross through the area. So in order to move around locally, you have to also use those regional arteries, and that is inevitably productive of conflict for everybody concerned, both for local residents and users, but also for the regional traffic as well, and it exacerbates some of the problems that exist. There's for a commercial district, there is very fragmentary parking development. It's done, if at all, on a property-by-property basis, which is pretty much what your zoning ordinances encourage and require. You have a mix that is still largely consistent of older, small-scale, strip-style development, some sort of medium-sized, but an aging commercial set of commercial properties for the most part, and development patterns that are largely automobile-oriented, including some fairly major what we would call auto-oriented uses. Generally, as Jody already suggested, what these add up to, along with some other factors, is an underperforming asset for the community. That's not to say it's not an asset, but like many smaller Connecticut communities, Your tax base is largely residential, and what opportunities you have to diversify and expand the tax base are largely dependent on this district. So certainly from that point of view, you've got an underperforming asset. Now, when you turn all that around, what we're talking about in the report are opportunities as well as challenges. Opportunities to encourage and use new development going forward to create a vibrant mixed-use village area for Woodbridge that is better functioning for both businesses and residents. And I think this is important because we've thought of this area from the very beginning as a mixed-use area, as an area that includes established neighborhoods, but neighborhoods that are interrupted by regional infrastructure, as well as dotted with commercial areas that are not always necessarily the most congenial to that environment. So what we've done in our report is to illustrate some best practices, places that are nearby and maybe a little bit further away, that show the kind of development that we're talking about as a real opportunity for Woodbridge, and also at the same time to sketch out in visual form, because at the end of the day that's what we do and who we are. We're architects and designers, to sketch out some scenarios that look at possible transformations of specific areas within the study area that envision an alternate future for those areas of more vibrant development, more pedestrian-friendly and street-oriented development, as opposed to exclusively automobile-oriented development, that imagine some changing patterns of use, some of which have locally already taken place, and that really mobilize the possibilities of this area becoming one of a string of developing village-like environments that we see as we go either north out of New Haven or south into New Haven along these regional corridors. And of course, not too far away, Westville Village is an example of that. Now, to do this, you will need, we will need, all of us will need to mobilize partnerships that we think have already begun to develop. And I think something that was mentioned before by Jody is that much of what we do in our work is not just deliver a product, but to take people through a process. And the process itself is, we would like to think, part of the product. In other words, the conversations that begin, the collaborations that begin in order to do a report like this are precisely those collaborations, those partnerships that you will need to have moving forward. Those are partnerships between business owners, property owners, residents, town agencies and staff, commissions, and ultimately also the state of Connecticut, especially the Department of Transportation. So the conversations that have been opened up, the lines of communication that have been opened up, we believe very strongly need to be kept open in order for this set of recommendations to have any impact going forward. And I think based on our experience, we're relatively optimistic about that. As optimistic as one ever is in the case of these kinds of complicated things. But ultimately, what you should look for, and I think what you have a right to expect, is a transformation of this area that, while it is to some extent led by the public sector, is really implemented by the private sector. In other words, the role of public action and investment in this area is actually to stimulate an increased level of private investment in the enhancement of properties, in the creation of a different kind of image and role. And again, we think we see signs of willingness, as Jody mentioned, on the part of current property owners to improve their properties, and in some cases current property owners to think about letting their properties be perhaps transformed and redeveloped by other partners. So, as I said, in putting the report together, we've had extensive and mostly constructive discussion, lots of editing. I think some of you are aware that we've had an interesting discussion about nomenclature, particularly with the residents who have very strong feelings about what this area of Woodbridge might or might not be called. And you will see in the report that there is a little bit of semantic hair splitting that you need to be aware of, and that we've tried our best to make clear, and we'll perhaps clarify in some additional ways as well. At the end of the day, the name for the expanded area of our study that people were most comfortable with was Village of Woodbridge. That needs to be distinguished, not separated, but distinguished between your village district, which is created under state statute and incorporated in your zoning ordinance, which has very specific and limited boundaries. And not only that, in the course of our work with the commission and with the town, there has been on the boards a project which has called itself Woodbridge Village as a private development. What the fate of that is, we're not sure at this moment, but that just makes things even a little bit livelier. Village is not a term that you can easily copyright. But this is where we are in terms of nomenclature. Residents were not very happy with us calling it a commercial or a business district because it's also a neighborhood. There are some older historical terms that people were finding less than flattering. Other people thought they were just fine. So we've tried to make it as clear as we possibly can, and we're working now to prepare a further graphic illustration that we would incorporate into the final version of the report, which would show you the outline of the village district as opposed to the broader study area. I heard about this coming over. And so I can tell none of you had baseball tickets tonight anyway, so you don't have anything to worry about. So that's where we are. We think we're pretty much on the verge of wrapping this up. We certainly appreciate the hard work of the commission. We've worked with at least 2 chairs over the time that we've been working. It's been, as I say, for us, a very good process. They have adopted this and approved it, and obviously they're hoping that you will also put your imprimatur on the work that we've done, and then, as Jody mentioned, most importantly, to use it going forward. There are already a few little things in the works, like the sidewalk improvements. The steep grant that the town prepared was supported by the work that we were doing, even though it was in many ways an independent project. And certainly the kinds of policy level recommendations that we make are very appropriate to the normal level at which Connecticut plans of conservation and development are prepared and worded. The detailed implementation then becomes the work of specific projects, of specific changes or overlays that you might make to your current zoning ordinance. I think that's enough for me.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Alan, for that report. I know I attended a number of the meetings that the commission has had over the years, and you're an excellent teacher and facilitator of discussions and getting opposite viewpoints to be discussed and understood, so we appreciate that very much. Has everyone had a chance to read this report?
Went through it. I haven't read it the entire thing, but I did.
Anyone have any questions about it?
This is more as, I guess, it's as a blueprint of what we'd like to see happen in that area.
And as you know, and I think Alan alluded to it, and we know that the Town Plan and Zoning Commission is going to update the plan of conservation and development. They will soon be hopefully retaining a consultant to assist in that process. So this document would be submitted in the course of their deliberations for consideration. Any recommendations in here for amendment to the zoning regulations, that sort of thing, would also be submitted to the Town Plan and Zoning Commission. as well as this report. So, I mean, it's a background, it's a starting point, it's a discussion point. Just to follow up on the traffic end of it, I received a communication from the state DOT about 2 weeks ago that their proposals for further revisions to a traffic plan for the Route 15 interchange, Litchfield Turnpike, Amity Road, will probably be held in the end of August. There'll be a stakeholders meeting with some definite proposals for that. Of course, this is the first step on a long journey, but at least there's something happening with that. We've had expression of interest from private property owners whom we've talked to who are interested in developing their property in this area and looking for assistance not only from the DECD, or monies are available for infrastructure improvements, so we're gonna proceed with that. So that's just the background I can give you. I don't know what else anyone else would like to add to that.
Professor Plattus, I'm not sure if it's in this, but in your study of this area, how does the Amity Shopping Center relate to? The reason I ask is, I love the depictions, and I would much prefer, like for example, the corner of Lucy and 69. That's a really attractive building. But it seems like it's so challenging to get someone to invest to build a building such as that and then be able to command a rent that's going to justify it and pay for it. And is there something unique, in your opinion, about the Amity Shopping Center and how it relates to this? Because the Amity Shopping Center, many years ago, had a lot of nice stores in it. It was a long time ago, but there was a upscale men's clothing shop for years, the Stag Shop. There was an Ann Taylor in there. There was
Coyne store.
There was Coyne too. That's right. So, the stores that are in there now, nothing against them, but it just seems like so much of Woodbridge doesn't go down to the Amity Shopping Center to shop. And does that relate to the challenges of developing these surrounding streets? Because shouldn't that be some kind of an anchor? And it's not.
It's not in Woodbridge.
And it's not getting any better. It just seems like it's like a rudderless ship. And is that working against us? And how does it relate to this?
Well, I think that's a very astute question, and I think it's both a challenge and an opportunity. You're certainly right, because I've watched that property over, now I hate to say it, over 40 years, and it certainly had its ups and downs. And now I would say it is what it is, and it's fairly typical of what's happened to older strip centers that have tried again and again to pick themselves up. Where they usually have landed, if they survive at all, is very much what you see at Amity, a big super regional grocery store, which is the primary draw. Some subsidiary uses, particularly things like drive-in banks, that feed off of that traffic. In the case of the shopping center, the one other I would say anchor use that you have there is a fitness facility, but you could blink your eyes and that might be gone tomorrow as well. There are two things that are planning issues, one of which we certainly reference in the report, and that is the opportunity to make a better linkage between Selden Street and the shopping center, because there ought to be, those of us who know the area well know that that link exists, but other users, I suspect, don't have the foggiest idea that there is that link. They probably think that the only way to get to, say, an use in the Selden Plaza that they might want to use as part of a visit to that area is to go back out to Amity Road, which of course is insane, because you have to then come out, turn left on Amity Road, turn left again, get into Selden Plaza. By the time you've done that once, you'll never want to do it again. But that link exists, and as the Selden Street corridor, we recommend as a focus for improvement, part of that would be a better linkage, including a pedestrian linkage, because it's not in thunderstorms, but otherwise it's a very short stroll over there, and there ought to be that opportunity. On the other hand, the kinds of higher end uses that you're talking about typically in the Northeast, but I would say increasingly in the rest of the country, are no longer looking to locate in a conventional strip-style shopping center. In fact, in many cases, they're not even looking to be in an enclosed mall anymore. They're looking to be in a village, in something that looks and performs like a more traditional small town center. And that's why places like Blueback Square and other more recent retail developments that we reference and that I'm sure many of you know have been the sites where those higher end uses are going. And I think there's an opportunity. I think it's more likely that if Woodbridge makes the right moves, they will be the beneficiaries of the possibility of some of those uses coming back to the area than Amity Shopping Center. Because if I am a higher end clothing store or a jeweler or a bicycle shop or whatever it might be, I no longer think of myself as the neighbor of discount stores and even big grocery stores. I'm looking for a very different kind of retail environment, and that is the kind of retail environment that this report would like to help you create.
Any other questions or comments? If not, then I would entertain a motion to accept the report of the Economic Development Commission entitled Village of Woodbridge Development Concept Plan.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
What does accept the report from the mean? Sorry.
We've accepted it as a document prepared by the Economic Development Commission, and we have no authority to implement the specific recommendations in this proposal, other than we have followed, as Professor Plattus has said, we have built and will be building sidewalks. There are other things that we may do or not do, but we accept the plan.
And so, does the report now go to TPZ because...
We would circulate it to TPZ, to all agencies that are concerned with the development of Woodbridge.
By accepting it, I think it doesn't mean that the Board of Selectmen looks favorably upon it and would ask that TPZ consider it.
Oh, surely, to review the plan and
the work that has been done by
to consider implementing their recommendation.
Right.
And that will be, the Economic Development Commission can participate in making specific recommendations to them as well.
Yes, I mean, actually, we would like to, we have, the EDC has created a number of subcommittees arising out of this report and in conjunction with other things that we've been doing. One of the, if you look closely at one of the diagrams, you'll see that there is a sign to a trail, to the West Rock Ridge State Park. And we have a subcommittee looking to develop a trailhead and a trail leading out behind the baseball fields. We have also we have the website subcommittee started. We have it. We're going to soon start a actual transportation subcommittee of the DOT. We would like to continue to participate in this conversation with planning and zoning, with the town conservation development, as we think that we are best to shepherd it through the next stages to ensure that this lovely report doesn't just get stored in a drawer somewhere, but really becomes part of the fabric of what the zoning regulations look like that are adopted with the new conservation plan, conservation development, and that we can help lay that groundwork so that when developers or property owners look to commercial property in Woodbridge or residential property in that area, there's a guideline. I think there hasn't really been effective shepherding of people who want to come in and develop in that area. And EDC would like to help with that process by seeing that portions of this are adopted, that then a developer can come in and say, I'm looking at an acre site down there. I know what I have to do. I know where I'm going to go with it. I know that EDC will help us. And I see through the town plan that I know what the opportunities are that are available. We're hopeful that that this opens up commercial economic potential within the area, because if you read more clearly into the plan, A lot of it calls for mixed use. So what I come from New York, we used to call it taxpayers. You'd have a commercial property, retail store on the bottom, and a smaller, very small residential property on top. And because we really want traffic down there to make the critical mass to support the stores that would then increase our tax base.
Okay, so there's been a motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Jody and Herb and Alan. And,
Thanks.
we look forward to continue to work with you.
Me too.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is the director, is the Director of Finance and Operations report. First item, the monthly report.
Okay. Our monthly report through March, which is our first 3 quarters of our fiscal year, is a $226,000 budgetary surplus at the end of the year. Some highlights for you that have been the same as previous years, previous months. Department revenues are projected to be close to budget. This includes a $75,000 cumulative surplus in several items, including building permits, transfer station fees, and conveyance fees. Those are trending ahead of budget so far. And in contrast, the shortfall in golf revenues, also of about $75,000. So the two pretty much will zero each other out, and therefore the department revenues will probably be pretty close to budget. We have some surpluses in our expenditures, including Amity of $85,000, and waste management should experience about a $40,000 surplus this year. Concerning FEMA, we have applied for Hurricane Sandy, and we've been approved for $309,000, $309,632 for the town for Hurricane Sandy, which is 75% of the exposure that we originally applied for. This includes $217,000 for public works debris, mostly public works debris cleanup, $69,229 for public safety, and $23,341 for volunteer services. Good. So we thank our volunteers for that, and most of that's from the fire department, and so that totals $309,632. We have begun the process of, and just a note on that, the department's very helpful in getting that information together. The fire department was very helpful. The police department and public works all did a lot of work with Cindy Pekka and our facilities department to put all that information together. So we're very thankful for that. There's a lot of paperwork involved in this process. Storm Nemo, a similar process will take place, and we've been informed that the New Haven County has been awarded a 75% reimbursement of all eligible expenditures for a 72-hour period of our choice. So we're happy about that. It was originally a 48-hour period that was a request by the governor, I believe, to extend that to 72 hours, and that was awarded. So now we are beginning that process, and we will get that information together into FEMA as soon as possible. Later on in the package, you'll see some transfers to cover some of the expenditures in the various departments that were impacted by those storms.
Any questions on the monthly report? If not, the next item is tax refunds. And you see in your packet there's a memo from Pat Crisco dated April 2013 for tax refunds. There are no personal property refunds. Real estate refunds total $1,001.16. Motor vehicle refunds total $1,757.16. So total refunds for February are $2,758.32. So I entertain a motion to approve those refunds.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. We do also have a report here on the contingency fund as of April 5. Is that
Right, that's correct. $42,196. That includes the transfers that you'll see this evening.
Okay, and then we have funding requests. The first of which is a line item transfer number 1213-19 in the amount of $2,000.
This is for repair and maintenance for police vehicles. It's within their budget.
And it's a transfer
From one line item to another.
in the police department budget.
Correct.
And there's a memo accompanying that as to what these funds are for in regard to repair. So I'd entertain a motion to approve line item transfer number 1213-19 in the amount of $2,000.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is line item transfer number 1213-20, $3,212.
This is for a repair for the building maintenance van for the transmission. And this was, funds were transferred from an expenditure line for a project that has no longer, has some remaining funds in it. So it's for $3,212.
And there's a memo describing what is to be done with that money.
Right.
All right, I entertain a motion to approve line item transfer number 1213-20 in the amount of $3,212.
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is line item transfer number 1213-21, $7,200.
This is the transfer, if you remember when we discussed the organic fertilizer and the organic pesticide issue, Adam had some, to transfer some funds to cover this year's budget. And so that's what this is, to cover the organic fertilizer and weed control for the remainder of the year.
So this is a transfer within the Parks Department budget.
It's from a capital line, correct, to an operating line, but yes, within Parks.
So I entertain a motion to approve line item transfer number 1213-21 in the amount of $7,200.
So moved.
I'll second it. Any discussion?
Yes, this says ball fields. Is this all the ball fields, or is this baseball?
These are all of the, this is for, you mean for the line? It's just the marking paint for the ball fields. It's a small part of this. Most of it's for the fertilizer for all of the town properties.
It's for the purchase of organic fertilizer, organic weed control, and marking paint for the ball field.
Yeah, the
Right,
marking
yeah.
paint's a small piece.
Right,
Most of
right,
it's for-
because because it brings up the fact that there's some maintenance of the ball fields. I don't know if this will get discussed, but there was a letter in our additional material tonight from Bethwood Baseball donating, again, their annual check
Right.
of $3,000
Well,
And that
to
includes,
go to the Parks Department. It includes clay for the fields. For the
also
baseball
includes
fields.
overtime work at the, in connection with any of these tournaments that are run.
Right.
so we have to transfer that money next fiscal year's budget.
Right, just so that it's understood that some of the work that's being done by the town is being supplemented by Bethwood Baseball with their annual donation.
We plan to transfer those funds in some of them in next month's package for the clay, and the remainder for the tournament has to be transferred in next year's fiscal year budget.
Okay.
So we will do that.
Okay, so did we vote on that line item transfer number?
No, we did.
No, it's under discussion.
Okay, so all those in favor of line item transfer number 1213-21 in the amount of $7,200, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is line item transfer number 1213-22, $2,000.
This is for some, within the Parks Department, for some tires for a truck and a trailer, which was not in the budget, his budget.
So I entertain a motion to approve line item transfer number 1213-22 in the amount of $2,000.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is line item transfer number 1213-23, $8,000.
Okay, this transfer, which is coming from miscellaneous revenue, which is from the revenue received from the fire marshal settlement, is to actually transfer funds for the transition in the fire department for a new fire marshal. It's going to 2 lines. One is fire marshal expense, which includes some software and staff training and some other costs related to the new fire marshal and equipment-wise, and also gear replacement for the new fire marshal to outfit the new fire marshal with turnout gear, which was not budgeted by the department. So
Where's the old gear?
Chief is here, he can answer that question.
Where's the old gear?
The old gear is issued to one of the members of the department. All the gear has to fit everybody for the regulations.
Okay, thank you.
So I'd entertain a motion to approve line item transfer number 1213-23, $8,000.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is line item transfer number 1213-24 in the amount of $15,000.
This transfer is for the building repair and maintenance account in the fire department, and as the chief can tell you, that most of that budget is for ongoing costs related to the repair and maintenance concerning boilers and elevators and that sort of thing. Most of that is earmarked for those annual costs. So there were a number of expenditures this year that were not budgeted for. I know there was an increase in the next year's budget to help with this issue, and we also plan on going to see if we can be more efficient and get some cost savings in some of these contracts. But there were some issues that needed to be funded. One was a camera that had to be replaced. Another was a pump issue with the floor. It was early on in the year.
Right. The oil pump.
Right. So there's several items here that had to be fixed. So this is contemplated. This is transfers from within the fire department budget, however, and it is from the salary line of the fire marshal, which is not was not used for several months. So the department was able to find it within their own budget to accommodate this transfer. So.
Okay, so I entertain a motion to approve line item transfer number 1213-24 in the amount of $15,000.
So moved.
All set? Okay, any discussion?
I was just going to say that my one question about this was the nature of these repairs and whether we needed to, re-examine the budget for next year.
We said they're included.
Yeah, no, so you've answered my question.
We actually budgeted last year. We budgeted 30,000. We got up back to 19.
Right. So there was an anticipation of that.
We're almost right on track where we thought we'd be last year.
And we spent about 30 last year too.
Yeah, we spent a little
more.
30. Yeah.
So it's actually similar to last year's expense. It just wasn't enough in the budget.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor of line item transfer number 1213-24 in the amount of $15,000 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is line item transfer number 1213-25 in the amount of $3,800.
Okay, this is another transfer in the fire department, and this is due to 5 unanticipated recruits. And while that's good news, we had to transfer funds to cover those costs. So again, this is from revenue from the settlement of the fire marshal issue, and that's for $3,800.
So I entertain a motion to approve line item transfer number 1213-25 in the amount of $3,800.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
What's about $800 per recruit? What is that for?
It's roughly $800, $750 plus books. We have 5 new guys in Fire 1 right now, which is a really positive thing. We actually had 4 of them came out of our junior program, and we have another 2 coming out in the next, we have one coming out already applied, and we have another one coming out next month out of the junior program to go into the fire department. So we increased our people by 8 or 9 people this year, which is actually really good for a volunteer department. So the junior program is actually really working out really well for us. So we're keeping these kids when they're 15 years old. We're teaching them the ropes and we're teaching them the ins and outs here. When they turn 18 years old, we bring them into the fire department. We send them for necessary training. Once they pass that, we try to have gear for them because we need to provide them gear to go to training, and then once they get out, then we need to outfit them with proper size gear. So we're doing really well. Gotta say, it's a really positive thing.
Any further comments or questions? If not, then all those in favor of funding request number 1213-26 in the amount of $27,700. I'm sorry, that's the head myself. In the amount of line item transfer number 1213-25.
Good, not that good.
In the amount of $3,800, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is funding request number 1213-26 in the amount of $27,700.
This transfer is a capital item that was approved for next year's budget for the Parks Department. And this item was for a truck, and the Board of Finance removed this item from next year's budget with the anticipation of funding it with this year's contingency. So the contingency number of $42,000, which was mentioned earlier, includes this transfer of $27,700.
Then entertain a motion to approve funding request number 1213-26 in the amount of $27,700.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is funding request number 1213-27 in the amount of $140,000.
The following 3 transfers are from FEMA funds and involve police, public works, and fire department. I just separated them by department so you can see how much each department incurred. The first is for the police department for primarily overtime for police officers, dispatchers, and some vehicle expenses, mostly gasoline for the cars.
So what this is doing is transferring money that we have received from the federal government to various line items in our budget.
Correct. And those are line items that incurred those expenditures throughout the year, and this is essentially funding those expenses.
So I entertain a motion to approve line item transfer number 1213-27 in the amount of $140,000.
So moved.
I'll second it. Any discussion?
Just a quick question about the arithmetic, Tony. This adds up to 451, 550, and then these three.
140.
No, I understand that, but you said the 3 of them are lumped together. You did it by department.
Right, we're doing the police one
I
first.
understand that.
Oh, okay.
But combined, the 3 add up to 451,000.
Oh, I'm right. It's opposed to the 3 that we received from earlier, right? Because we have also have some funds from Hurricane Nemo. That the hurricane funds from Hurricane Sandy have been authorized and approved. We also have a tally that we were just came up with from Hurricane Nemo, which is the balance of that, but hasn't been officially approved by the federal government. They've authorized us to move forward with those expenses.
No.
You could certainly not transfer the the Storm Nemo expenses until after if you chose to.
But it's a fixed amount, you know what it is.
Right.
We just haven't received the
We
money.
just haven't received the money. But in lieu of just so we could do them all at once, so you can see how much they all cost at the same time. That's why I did it this way.
Now I can sleep.
Well, Nick, though.
Okay, so all those in favor of line item transfer number 1213-27 in the amount of $140,000 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, passes unanimously. Next is line item transfer number 1213-28, $260,000.
This is for public works expenditures for both storms, and this is primarily 140,000 of it is for brush debris and brush removal for the first hurricane, and that was all through state contract and state vendors, and that was for not only removal of the debris from the roadside, but also the grinding and removal of the brush once it was ground. They were doing it for several days here in the back. So that's where most of that is from. There's also some overtime for public works and some gas and vehicle expenditures, total the $260,000.
You'll notice in Tony's memo of April 5, 2013, it says this transfer request will transfer FEMA funds anticipated to be received from Hurricane Sandy and Storm Nemo to the Public Works and Building Maintenance budgets. Okay?
Gotcha.
So I'd entertain a motion to approve line item transfer number 1213-28 in the amount of $260,000.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye opposed, passes unanimously. Finally, line item transfer number 1213-29 in the amount of $51,550.
The final transfer is for the fire department, and the fire department transfer covers mostly repair and maintenance to the vehicles. There were some repairs they had to make, and technical supplies that were used for the storms, including food and other supplies and gas for the vehicles, and some hydrant repairs. Mostly the hydrant repairs are mostly from the snow event, when there's a large pile of snow that damages a hydrant.
Again, this is requesting transfer of FEMA funds anticipated to be received. Okay. So I'd entertain a motion to approve line item transfer number 1213-29 in the amount of $51,550.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is approved designation of CMed credit.
The state of Connecticut awards us a CMed credit every year. This is based on our population. Credit is for 30 cents per capita, of which our population here is 8,976. So the credit is for $2,692.80. Last year, as we do every year, and as our recommendation is this year, is to designate this credit to our South Central CMed, which they then use as part of their budget.
Okay. So I'd entertain a motion to designate the CMed credit of $2,692.80 to the South Central CMed.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously. Next are awarded bids, the first of which is street sweeping.
The town opened up bids for street sweeping. We had 3 bidders, and the apparent low bidder is Janet Sweeping and Property Care, which we've used in the past, and which we would recommend using this year, $260 a mile.
And they're the low bidder?
Low bidder, yes, and a 5% discount.
So I entertain a motion to award bid number 2013-10 street sweeping to Janet Sweeping Property Care LLC.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Do we take that 5%?
We do. It's a lot more than the amount we'll receive by now.
Yeah.
Waiting 30 days, that's for sure.
Terrific, sure.
All right. Any further comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is catch basin cleaning.
We opened up bids for catch basin cleaning. We received 5 bids and 1 no bid, which is 6 vendors. And the low bid is for American Pipe and Catch Basin Cleaning. We have not used them in the past, but we've thoroughly checked their references, and they came highly recommended. So we would like to recommend American Pipe and Catch Basin Cleaning. $16.70 per basin. Now it has a 1% discount.
So I entertain a motion to award bid number 2013-09, catch basin cleaning to American Pipe and Catch Basin Cleaning, the low bidder.
So moved.
This-
Second.
This bid is a good illustration of why you go out to bid. You'll see one bidder is $42 a basin. Another, that's the high bid, and the low bid is $16.70. So you can see the big difference.
Somebody gives 31% discount.
Right.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. It still didn't work.
Wow, I know. I did the math and made sure Mary Pipe was still low. Wow,
So-
which I'm sure you did.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is Parks Department, purchase a pickup truck, state bid.
This is the, relating to the transfer earlier, and this is the purchase of the actual truck under state bid, which has a number there, and from Interstate Ford's truck. So it's for $27,792.
$700.92, yeah,
Right.
okay. So I'd entertain a motion to purchase the pickup truck as described in the March 26, 2013 memo from the state bid.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
And they just happen to have the money as of.
Right.
That's right.
That's right.
As
How
of
convenient.
Isn't that amazing?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next in our packet is a resignation of Fire Department Administrative Assistant.
Amy has, the fire department has submitted her resignation. She will be missed by all of us, and we will begin the process of replacing her.
Could be huge loss.
Yeah.
I know. Good luck trying to replace her and what could happen.
And her last day of employment will be June 13, 2013.
She did a fabulous job.
She did a great job.
Yep.
So
She'd be very missed.
we'll entertain a motion to accept Amy Cotton Bogish's letter of resignation dated March 12, 2013, effective June 13, 2013.
With regret.
With regret. I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Deep regret.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is just FEMA applications, increase of hours covered to 72. I guess this is just for your information.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Yep. Okay.
This is the press release.
Yay.
All right. So then we get on to adopt required resolutions.
There's
Every year.
one other item in here.
Okay.
You probably have this other FEMA information.
Yep.
These are the actual awards for the Sandy. And if you could read the tiny writing, it tells you what all the details are that we had to submit for each section. So, some grant, this first one here, for instance, is tells you up here, you know, the description of what it's for, and this one is for police, public safety, and et cetera, et cetera.
Doesn't require any action.
No, this is just information for you,
And it's on the act, yeah.
if you feel like reading it, right?
Okay, so that gets on to number 9 on our agenda, adopt required resolutions, the first of which is compliance with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So I'd entertain a motion to adopt that resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is the fair housing resolution. I'd entertain a motion to adopt that resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is the Town of Woodbridge Fair Housing Policy Statement. Entertain a motion to approve that resolution.
So moved.
So moved.
That's the second? Yeah. Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is the Town of Woodbridge Americans with Disabilities Act notice. I'd entertain a motion to approve that notice.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is the Town of Woodbridge Municipal Grievance Procedure. I'd entertain a motion to approve that procedure.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. And finally is the Affirmative Action Policy Statement. I'd entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Okay. Did anyone pick up, I know there's one person who did, there's two persons who did. I didn't. There's reference in
You did
this
it.
statement to the town of Canton, but it should
Oh, I missed
be the
that.
town of Woodbridge. So, the one we're
That's what I do,
approving
Tom.
is the, we have it, and we'll give you a copy of this, the same thing, it just says town of Woodbridge rather than town of Canton. Entertain a motion to approve the town of Woodbridge affirmative action policy statement.
We didn't yet? Okay.
No.
So
Can I
moved.
vote in favor of the town of Canton?
Yeah, but it won't count.
I want them to have affirmative action.
Right. So is there a motion to approve the affirmative
So
action?
moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay, that gets us to the town council's report.
Okay. You've all been waiting for this, but here we go. Agreement with AT&T and Uverse. You probably all remember that they were here, I think at the last meeting of the meeting before, I made a presentation about having Woodbridge's meetings televised on their AT&T Uverse system for residents who actually subscribe to Uverse. I think that the board at that time accepted their willingness to be an additional carrier of our meetings, and I was charged with reviewing their agreement for signature by Ed. I reviewed the agreement. I actually met with Mr. Perry today to go over a couple of points, and he's the AT&T rep that was here, and he has indicated that he made a recommendation to make one minor change that I suggested to him, and that was in paragraph K of the agreement on page 4 concerning the limitation of liability paragraph. And he's supposed to get back to me tomorrow with after checking with their lawyers. Other than that, the agreement is in ready state to be executed by Ed, so we can get those meetings carried on their system. One little point to note that Pua asked that we consider raising with AT&T the possibility of getting a free return line for the town of Woodbridge once this system is up and going. And basically, I think that means that we would be able to monitor any bad communications, any problems with the system right here from Town Hall, or as Pua suggested, from the fire department. Mr. Perry indicated that he would do that free of charge for Woodbridge. They do charge some of the other communities, and sometimes they don't do it. But he said as soon as he can get access to this building, they will install that return line free of charge. And Pua has asked that maybe we can have it at the fire department right now, because Uverse is wired along Center Road, and there's some residents that have it. And if he can get it to the fire department, I'm sure he'll do it as well, free of charge. So,
And that's where it's installed? The actual line is installed?
The actual line is installed on Center Road. Yes, if you can see those
It's available on
boxes.
Center Road.
Yeah.
No, but the return line is installed at the fire department?
Not there. No, it's not there yet.
But it will be.
If we want it, he will do, and if it can be actually installed at the fire department. They can't do it here because they don't have enough. It's not close enough.
Oh, that
to
was
the
my
main
question.
line.
Oh, I see.
Right.
Okay, so that's the best place.
We believe that right now the fire department, well, it's subject to confirmation with him. We believe that they would be able to hook up the fire department because there's a line right there on Center Road. They can't reach the town hall yet.
I get it.
But when they do put something in on, I guess, Newton, maybe they'll be able to get to the town hall.
Or my house. Can't reach my house.
They can't reach my house either. They never will. But so.
Yeah.
So that's an amendment to this agreement?
Well, no, that doesn't have to be in the. That's an
Just a side
understanding.
agreement.
Yes, a side agreement. I think the board should just vote on the four corners of this agreement that's before you.
Okay. So I'd entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
It's pending the changes in paragraph K.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And what are those, Jerry?
Just took out the word gross in front of negligence. This is liability of AT&T, and took out the phrases in the next to last line, willful misconduct. We asked that be removed, and he's going to check with his legal counsel.
And I understand they're paying for all the installation costs and the monthly recurring
Yes,
charges.
correct.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. So with that understanding, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is approve right-of-way to install temporary water main in connection with construction of Merritt Avenue Bridge.
In
and
your
authorize first selectman execute.
Right, in your packet, you have an explanation from the Regional Water Authority about the need to have a permanent easement on a paper road that is known as South Bradley Road. I've reviewed the document, and it's ready to be signed, subject to your approval.
Okay, so I'd entertain a motion to authorize me to execute the right-of-way easement agreement that's contained in the package.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question about this. The paragraph, Regional Water Authority intends to leave the temporary water main in place. So they're gonna put a temporary line in and then leave it in forever?
Leave it forever, in case they need access to
So it will become then sort of an adjunct line rather than no longer be temporary.
it. Right.
It also creates a loop.
Right.
Creates an
Right,
alternative
okay.
water source in
I
case they
think
need
that's a
2
good
feet
idea.
water feeds to the
Right,
area.
right. So that's a good idea.
It also
in case-
improves pressure, he said.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's really good. Okay.
Okay, so
Thanks.
any further discussion?
Excuse me, who seconded that?
Laurence Beth made it and Laurence seconded it.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. The next is approved master municipal agreement for construction projects with the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation and authorize first selectman to execute.
This is the standard agreements that the state requires if there's any funding to the town of Woodbridge. And again, this is the document that all municipalities sign, and again, I would recommend that the board approve the agreements for its signature.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. And finally, report on Inland Wetlands Agency action for a Woodbridge Fire Association's patio.
Well, you've all probably know that the Fire Commission applied to Inland Wetlands for what is called a post-activity permit for activities in the upland review area for purposes of a patio off the rear paved portion of the firehouse, and the Fire Commission subsequently amended that application to include permission for a permit for activity in an upland review area for the purpose of a concrete dumpster pad. I think the Inland Wetlands Agency had several hearings on this application, a lot of testimony from interested residents as well as people from the fire department and commission, and the Inland Wetlands voted on March 27th to deny the request. And that's the status at this moment. There is a possibility that the Fire Commission will seek to appeal that decision, but we will have to see. Time will tell.
So that's just a point of information.
So at this point, it's in the hands of Terry Gilbertson as the enforcement officer, or not?
Well, this was done on March 27th. There generally is an appeal period of 15 days from the date the notice of the decision is published in the newspaper. And I understand that the publication of the decision in the newspaper is going to be tomorrow or the next day, momentarily.
According to this letter, it says on April 9, 2013.
April 9,
yeah.
And from that time, there is a 15-day appeal period where someone aggrieved by a decision could go to court. And everything is at status quo until that appeal period expires.
And then finally, you have a letter to me of March 22, 2013, and to Tony.
Yes, this is just an explanation that we have a case that's pending that really doesn't affect the town, except the town has been made a defendant in this matter by the plaintiff, Mr. Bacteri, and it involves a dispute among neighbors in the Round Hill section of town, Round Hill Road section of town, concerning a maintenance agreement for a common driveway. The matter is moving through the courts. There's some deposition scheduled for next week, and the town is just following the activities since we are a defendant.
Why are we a defendant?
Because the town in the 1970s approved a subdivision
Gotcha.
for that property.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, can I ask one more question on the
Sure.
fire pit? If Attorney Thomas appeals, would we have to authorize that?
Well, that's an issue for the fire commission to make a decision on, and I haven't talked to Mr. Thomas, and there is some, he has an opinion that that I believe the fire commission can file the appeal. I think that's going to be a decision for the courts, whether they come to us and ask for permission or not. We did give them permission to file the application. There was a vote taken, and we authorized the filing of the application before the Inland Wetlands Commission.
A conditioned permission,
Right.
if you recall, right?
So it would seem like we'd give permission to file an appeal, but
Why would, well, I don't think that's how it works. But
so 15 days from yesterday, basically.
15 days when it yes, it went in, I guess, yesterday.
If it was published, they requested
I'm not
it,
su- I'm
as
not-
you can see from the letter, they requested it be published on April 9, 2013. I don't know what it was.
I don't know if it has. I think that they've just,
It was not?
I don't think so. I think I have a draft, and it's being approved by Mr. Blythe, who's chairman of the Inland Wetlands Commission, and I think it'll probably
I
be...
think I did see it in the paper.
Oh, it did? So then it was,
I
it was
think I
published.
did.
Okay.
we don't know,
Yeah.
though. Sounds like we don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw a little square. at the
They have
bottom.
15 days from the date they actually denied the application, so I think that
Yesterday.
that time is running very quickly.
Well, they
It hasn't run already.
15 days from the date of publication. Right.
But the town has 15 days to publish the notice of the
Oh, I see.
decision from the
Okay.
date of the decision. Once the notice is published, the party aggrieved has 15 days to appeal to the Supreme Court.
So that's a holding pattern, is all it is, because
Right.
nobody can do anything. I mean, the
Right.
real question, as you point out, is, well, what happens if they don't appeal?
Right,
That's really the question. And I don't think we know the answer to that.
not yet.
Right.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a report of the Personnel Committee recommending that we adopt a sexual harassment policy, which is contained in your packet. So I would entertain a motion to adopt the sexual harassment policy.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. I thought when we discussed this that it was going to be, now maybe it's just procedural and not part of the actual policy, but that that the employees participate in the program, and that managers, at least when they're hired, go to the program, and so that everyone is on board with it, as opposed to just giving them this. We do have access to.
We actually have set up, I don't know, Jerry, if we have actually set up the date yet.
Not yet, no, because he's away.
Right, okay.
But
We've communicated with our
Jim
Riscotti, yeah.
Okay.
And we're currently trying to find a date that works for both parties.
Okay.
So we'll do what you're suggesting.
Okay. So we don't need to have that in the policy then, or that new
Well-
hires should go through the program, and that managers should be required to go through the program, at least, I guess.
Well, that may be a separate issue. This is the sexual harassment policy is in regard to definition of sexual harassment.
Right, right.
And types and complaint procedure, disciplinary action, and other remedies.
Mhm.
We could, in our policy manual, put that in there as a requirement. That's
Okay.
something else.
Public place.
Yeah, then maybe we
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
go there, just so
Okay.
that,
Yeah.
So Jerry, can you make a note of that we
Yeah.
would do that? Okay.
Did we not have a policy before, or this was a?
This is an amendment to an existing
Yeah, we
policy?
had one, but it was what, several years ago.
Oh, yeah, 70 sometime.
Yeah.
I had to go through it in 1990 or 1890.
1890. There it is. Sorry.
Mr. Gliatti worked on it.
Yeah, it was written up in 1972, I think.
I wasn't in
So we took a vote on that?
No, you did not.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is to sign the call of the biennial election for May 6, Monday, May 6, 2013. You have that in the packet, so,
And I have the original here to be signed.
okay, so,
Pass it around.
Top billing.
So I'll make that motion.
I don't, we need a
Or
motion.
we just sign it?
We do need a motion?
Yeah, a motion to sign.
Okay.
So I make a motion that the Board of Selectmen sign the call for the biennial town election.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Top billing.
And then next is the call of the annual town meeting for May 20, 2013. That's a Monday, May 20, 2013. And so I would entertain a motion to call the Town of Woodbridge annual town meeting for Monday, May 20, 2013, to act on the following. 1, to elect a town meeting moderator for a term of 2 years pursuant to Chapter 1, Article 3 of the ordinances of the Town of Woodbridge. Nominations will be made from the floor. 2, to act on the fiscal year 2014 budget as recommended by the Board of Finance. 3, to act on any other matter proper to come before the meeting. So I entertain a motion, that motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question. Does the call, should the call include a time?
Yes, it should. Thank you.
Aha,
Yes,
Just asking.
No, that's
Sometime.
very good.
7:30 p.m.
Whenever you show up.
DST or whatever it's called.
It'll be daylight saving time. And that, so,
And also call it for the gymnasium of the, as you can see, I was just worried about what we were actually calling.
at the center gym.
The center gym, or meeting house like, and I'll put all that in.
Yeah, and so does the person who made the motion accept that amendment?
Yep.
Okay, and it's seconded? Okay, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Then we have the town clerk's report, and I would entertain a motion to acknowledge receipt of the town clerk's report.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next, we have minutes. The first of which are the minutes of our regular meeting on October 10, 2012. And I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Absent any discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Abstention.
One
I wasn't
abstention.
there.
Next are our public hearing revision to noise ordinance minutes for Wednesday, October 10, 2012. And I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? One abstention. Next are the minutes of our regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen on February 13, 2013. Entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay, that gets us to the first Selectmen's report. On March 20, I attended Read Across America with Tony, Genovese, Joe Hallower, and Laurence, I believe, was there. Was Tom with you? No.
No, I couldn't make it this year.
Okay, that was very well done. And then on March 21, Fire Marshal Joseph Capucci was sworn in. And in present for the swearing in was the New Haven Fire Chief Edward Grant, as well as Bill Salentano, who's chairman of the New Haven Board of Fire Commissioners, and a number of the family members. On April 2nd, we had a visit from Cindy Vojtovich, who's with Urgent Care in Orange, and she will be appearing at our Board of Selectmen meeting in May to explain the advantages of using urgent care in Orange. On April 3, we met with John Hammer about the revisions to the plans for the sidewalks on Lucy Street and Litchfield Turnpike. On Sunday, I attended a memorial service for Dr. Robert Gordon, a longtime resident of Woodbridge who died at the age of 90 at the Lawn Club in New Haven. Over 200 people were in attendance. It was a wonderful ceremony honoring him and his family of 6 children, 4 of whom are physicians. And he's a very well-known person in our town, or was. On the same day, I attended the Holocaust Memorial at the JCC, and that was very well attended as well. On Saturday, April 27th, at around 10 a.m. at the Woodbridge Town Green will be the opening day ceremony for the Bethwood Baseball League, and so we urge you to attend. And in your packet handed out tonight was a memo from Dwight Rowland to myself about the $3,000 donation that the Bethwood Fathers League presented to the town for use of clay material as well as overtime and temporary toilets for their tournaments. So that money will be spent in that manner. And next is our administrative officer's report. Joe?
Just one quick thing, is also the meeting that the folks who are consultants on the microgrid, and we were supposed to meet with them on the newest proposal yesterday, but they didn't get it done in time. So Mr. Genovese and I and our associates that you met earlier this evening will be in Hartford on the 23rd at 1 o'clock for another presentation. This will be the third one. We've passed the gate twice, and then they make it a little more complicated each time. So, but it's very much alive.
And they award 5?
Please?
They will do 5?
They'll award as many as they can with $15 million.
The award by the statute is 3 different categories: large, medium, and small. There are only 2 small towns, that's 10,000 or less, who are in the running here.
That's us.
Us and Wyndham. Wyndham is only for a hospital. We have a larger complex to service, so we should have a pretty good chance of getting this.
So it is continuing to be a work in progress. That's it.
Tom?
The Board of Ed met the other night, Amity. The Finance Committee and the Board of Ed voted unanimously to approve the budget, which is about, I think it was not 1.98%. Referendum is set for May 8th for the budget, and Friday, June 21st. So, as of the other night, is set for graduation, as long as nothing else happens between now and graduation, to push that day off. And then on March 11th, at the prior meeting, they met, and CAP testing was going well. They've got 391 students are graduating this year, and approximately 375 incoming next year. And that could increase anywhere from, they're saying right now, 9 to 12, with possible students coming over from ESBRA or other enrollments. They've got 2 new classes for next year. They have marine biology and physics and engineering, which I think is great that the kids can get involved in that at an early age. And, when I was growing up in Guilford, they had a marine biology program, and it made a big impact, and I think that's great that they're doing that. Under public comment, there was quite a bit of discussion about the play that's going on, Sweeney Todd. A number of people were unhappy that that's the play that they chose to have. One woman was concerned because of the themes of rape, murder, and cannibalism in the play, and considering that this is most of the kids that go to these, it's a family event, and she's concerned that those types of themes are inappropriate for high school plays. There were a few people who spoke in favor of it, saying it's art, and it's a movie, and it's been a Broadway play, and it's been around for quite a while, and it's got all kinds of awards. Although I can clearly understand the people that are unhappy with those themes. I mean, it's certainly something I wouldn't bring a young child to, but I think what they're going to do in the future is they're going to try and look at some of the selections for plays that are made ahead of time, because I think once it was announced that was the play, they were kind of already into the planning and the practicing, and so they're just going through with that. But I think they may look at that in the future. And let's see if there was anything else here. And I think those are the big topics for that meeting. So that's about it.
Thank you.
Tom, could I just jump in? Of note, I guess, on that budget vote was that it was a unanimous approval.
Yes, unanimous from the Board of Finance, the Finance Committee, and the Board of Ed. Correct.
In recent history, the Board of Education, I guess, has been split.
Yes.
And your son George is in this play?
He's the second victim.
I just want to say something. This is
He'll be the first to tell you. Right?
This is the high school version of this play.
Understood. I mean, I'm not.
I understand, right? But that needs to be part of this discussion.
But I think I can understand why certain people are upset. There's so many other plays that can be played.
Well, we're not going to discuss that. I just want to make.
But
I just want the point to be in the record that this is the high school version of this play.
So it's the abridged version?
It's a high school version.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, a lot of, like they did Rent and they did a high school version.
Right?
So.
It's all good at the end.
Oh yeah, and it's not like they have to replace him.
Yeah, exactly.
It should be said it's not my favorite play. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying it's the high school version.
Greg?
Short update. The inland wetlands, I don't think I need to. We already talked about that, and there was a very brief meeting, TPZ, on Monday. Very short agenda, quick meeting. That's all I have.
Okay. Laurence?
Yeah, the Woodbridge Board of Education met March 18th, and wasn't able to stay for the whole meeting because there was concurrent with that meeting the preliminary town plan of conservation and development meeting in the senior center cafeteria. So I was just there for the first 30 or 40 minutes. Of note, though, Beecher Road School will be among those schools to pilot the new standardized testing for Connecticut grade schools, and I think that's a feather in the cap of Beecher Road School and Woodbridge, and of particular merit, I think, is the reason why Beecher Road School was chosen, and that is because of the investment the town has made in technology at Beecher Road School. This new generation of standardized testing will be interactive. It's all web-based. Students will, as the test progresses, students will be steered one way or another based on answers to previous questions. It's as I say, web-based and interactive, and Woodbridge, or Beecher Road School in Woodbridge anyway, has the technology to support this new generation of testing. So the pilot will happen here. And then the other thing, at that particular meeting, volunteer members of the Woodbridge Board of Education were honored, I guess, with a citation from Ed. It was Board of Education Recognition Day, week, month. I didn't read the citation, you did. But anyway, so Ed was there to acknowledge and honor their volunteer commitment to that Board of Education. And then I left to go to the Town Plan of Conservation and Development meeting. And the Woodbridge Recreation Commission meeting was canceled because they weren't going to have a quorum.
Thank you. Susan?
The Library Commission did meet on Monday. I was not able to be there, and their minutes are not yet available, so I have nothing to say.
All right. Beth?
I'll be quick. I was not able to attend Human Services, and their minutes are not online yet, so I can't tell you too much. I did ask Mary Ellen to let me know if there was anything to report to the board, and I did not hear from her. The only thing I want to let you know is I received this afternoon, the Fire Commission, the regular meeting, which was scheduled for this month on 4/22, hasn't occurred, obviously, but they have printed out an agenda, which I will be going to on Monday night, calling for executive session. It's a special meeting of the Fire Commission, executive session to review attorney-client privilege report from Attorney Dominic Thomas, discussion and action, authorization of appeal of decision of Inland Wetlands Commission denying application for patio and dumpster pad relocation. So I will be there, and you'll probably see it before we come back again, what happened, but just to
And
let
just
you
a
know.
note on human services, I think they're having a shelter training at the firehouse tomorrow night
Oh, okay.
Yes, it is tomorrow.
in conjunction with the fire department and other volunteers.
Thank you. Good. That's it.
Okay, does anyone else have anything else to add or discuss? No? If not, then I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Thank you very much.